Hello everybody, we're on the digital page now, we're off the magazine page, the printed page, and I hope that everyone's going to find that an actual live demonstration is much more interesting than looking at instructions in print. But I have to introduce myself. I'm Jim Cobb, and I'm not a pouring expert, so I have to introduce our pouring expert, who hopefully will come across here and say hello to us. His name is John Rhoden. He's going to be the master of ceremonies, John.
That's very, very polite, Jim.
Yes.
I'll be interested in demonstrating your product. It's a product I use myself all the time, so that
you know about it.
I know a little bit about it.
I've never explored pouring myself, I have to confess.
Oh, right.
So this isn't my pouring, this is John's pouring.
Yeah, that was just a little quick sample I did 2 nights ago. It's touch dry, but
Still a bit sticky.
Still a bit sticky.
Now, what I want to just show everybody is the kit. If you come to the workshop, this is the $400 kit that you'll come to. So there's plenty of pouring medium. We've chosen Atelier Free Flow because it's the most liquid paint that we make, and so it's the easiest one to mix into the pouring medium. But if you have Joe Sonia or Atelier or A2, they're getting progressively thicker. Joe Sonia is a bit thicker than Free Flow, and Atelier and Atelier A2 are both heavy body acrylics, so you need more liquid to get them to mix into the pouring phase, because pouring has to be liquid enough to move around when you move the tray around. It's got to flow, so it's a bit harder to use. If you've got it at home, you can use it though. Okay, so I'm going to move out the space and let John come in.
Welcome to the Chroma acrylic pouring demonstration. This is an introduction to a painting system that has become very popular. It's interesting, it's addictive almost, and you can achieve results very quickly, and then it's also easy to improve your work. It's a great product. The pouring requires an amount of experimentation, and why I say experimentation, it's because every paint acts differently. Flow mediums vary and act differently. If you add flow medium to a paint, you'll need varying amounts depending on the density of the paint and even the ambient temperature. I found actually that pours seem to work better for me on warmer days. The way you pour gives different results. So pouring from a height, pouring one on top of the other, or just squiggling it around on your canvas will give you different results. Now, a lot of people like to be absolutely level and use a level when you set up your canvas. Quite honestly, I don't really bother with that. If it's almost level, it's fine, because in the end, when it's starting to flow, you've got to pick it up anyway and move it round. Other people use various additives, which are not strictly additives. They're certainly not made by Chroma. Some are made by other industrial paint manufacturers, such as something called Floetrol, which you would have seen. Some have silicon, they add silicon to their work, and then it requires heating with a little chef's gas torch to make the cells appear. Although quite often you will get cells using the products here without heating. The way you combine the ingredients has a different effect. So it's really quite experimental, and you will have lots of fun trying to work out the right mix, what colours you put together. I've tried all sorts of things, working around the colour wheel, using complementary colours, using the earth colours to see what sort of effect that produces, using one colour, so I end up with a black and white, which turned out to be very interesting, and actually I sold it. The paint colours have different densities, and the densities affect what paint drops through the other paint. So if you have two lots of paint, the heavier density will drop through the lighter paint. There are two types of pouring. This here is what's called a clean pour. A clean pour just consists of you organising your colours with your flow medium and just pouring them onto the canvas, and you'll see I'll be using a clean pour today. There is another pour that you may have read about called a dirty pour. A dirty pour involves putting all your colours in the one cup. So you mix up your colours in separate cups, then you have a final large cup, which you then add all the smaller cups to, and that becomes what is known as a dirty pour. In this recipe we're using 25 mils of pouring medium, as you can see there, pouring medium, and the same amount of free flow. And I'm measuring this in a measuring cup. Right, you've got to mix this very thoroughly. The purpose of using these see-through cups is that you can see here that the paint has not yet fully mixed. The pouring medium is still recognisable through the outside. The finished job is to have none of that white showing.
Yep.
What I'm going to demonstrate now is, as I said before, a clean pour.
I would have thought a dirty pour was when you messed up a clean pour and you wanted to give it another name, but anyway.
No. But, so, various ways of doing it. You can scatter it in shapes, or one of the methods I really like is sort of like making an egg, really. And the purpose there is we start with white in a blob, little blob, and then we add our colours with white interspersed between each colour. So we've got white, I'll put a little bit of yellow in there, now that's why I called it an egg.
Yeah.
Then we go white again, and you can vary it. You will get different effects from the height you drop it onto your canvas. I haven't quite scientifically worked out why that is the case, but it is the case. I'll put a little bit more white in here. And my favourite colour, the quinacridone magenta. Beautiful colour. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, and we just keep doing that until we have sufficient, not only to cover the surface, but to run over the sides as well. So when you're doing canvas like this, which I really like, these thicker sides, remember,
what about if you swoosh that around and tilt it?
I'm going to in a minute.
Yeah, you're going to. Okay.
Right, so we'll just keep manufacturing a little egg here. Tricky. Right, so it's white colour. And then you can change the sequence. So maybe we'll go back to yellow. Ooh. We'll go back to white.
So you must know what's going to happen when you move it around. You will know ahead of time. It's
Yeah,
not
well,
going to look like that, is it?
no, it certainly is not. Oh,
Well, you can't tell what's going to happen yet.
no. Well, that's the beauty of acrylic pouring.
Yes.
All right. Now, have we got enough? It's not running off the edges. Looks to me, though, as if we have enough. Now, this is what I was saying about, do we really care that it's not absolutely level? I don't think so. Now, we move our paint by moving the board. And you'll see what happens. We get all sorts of different effects. What you have to watch, of course, is you get some beautiful effect, and when you tilt it looks like it's going to run over the edge. So you need to be active in how you manoeuvre it all. Okay, now we want it to over the edge. There we go. Maybe it's slightly thin. Now we see we have some mixing here. We've got the green and the yellow, the blue and yellow making the green, of course. Okay. Now we can also play around with this. We can make changes. We can.
Yeah.
That's what. Now we can do various manoeuvres. Nice fast movements. And there's the colour underneath.
It's painting wet in wet.
Yes, absolutely.
Very wet in wet.
And if we reckon we haven't got quite enough paint to cover it all, we
You get a very nice purple mixing the blue with the magenta.
I'll just drip a little bit more paint. There we are. Doesn't matter where it goes. I won't put it there. And if you can just observe through the blue, you see the cells that are coming up. Now, we haven't used any silicone at all. It's just one of the properties of the paint that you do get cells from time to time. Sometimes random, sometimes when you want them you can't get them.
I think that
we'll continue working. Now, the paint in your tray is not wasted. I often just put my little hand in there and just tap it around the edge like that, in the spots that haven't been touched. But you can see why there's a need for gloves. Right.
Yeah, I thought you were being a fusspot putting the gloves on, but
No.
I think it's quite helpful, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And we can have it on a little slope. You can let it dry on a slope. As it dries, it'll move down. But what I was going to
It's moving very slowly.
It is, yeah.
Very gentle slope,
Yes,
isn't it?
yeah. But you will find that will
Will
fully
dribble down
cover.
gradually, yeah.
Yeah, and they see these strokes where I touched it before.
Yeah.
You're getting quite a different effect. That credit card I had somewhere. You don't like that. So we can use it.
You can only use a Visa card for this.
This is not true. You can use anybody's
Any
card,
kind of
preferably not your current card. Okay, so we think there's a bit too much white there. Technically, I don't think there's too much white there anyway, but we can do something very gently. It's called a swipe. Okay, I want to find out what's under there.
Ooh.
Now, look what's under there. Now, it looks a bit of a smudge, looks a bit artificial, but it will work out. It will come good, come smooth, and appear like the rest of it, and keep the same level of gloss as we already have achieved. And that's called swiping. Okay, so what I've illustrated now is the clean pull, a little bit of swiping, how to economise and pick up your bits and pieces around the edge, just to make sure that the edge is done. Some people don't like having the edge done, they just like to paint it a different colour.
Yeah.
If that's the case, what you do is you just...
You can come and paint it afterwards if you want the same colour.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some of them just run a tape around there, so you've got a little pond.
Yeah, yeah.
And then,
with a little bit
yes,
of
a little
rise
bit,
on the edge.
A little bit
so they
further.
get a pull.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Before we finish, one critical thing to do is to pick up your work and look at it along the surface, where you will find bubbles. Bubbles need to be broken, so you need a toothpick. Lumps, meaning you haven't mixed the paint or using old paint.
You're more likely to get lumps if you're using a thicker paint and you haven't quite mixed it in.
That's correct. And they need to be lifted out, because we don't. You don't want lumps in your work. Okay, right.
No. John, I can see this is a really messy business. You've got your used gloves, you've got the pedal pop sticks, your credit card, and then you've got all of this. How do you get it home, or how do you clean up the mess?
Right, interesting question. All part of your preparation. When you're planning the job, you've got to think about what you're going to do with the finished painting. How are you going to move it?
That's what I'm asking
how
you.
are you going to put it in your car?
We've got these thousands of people doing your demonstration.
Absolutely.
Then they're left with a wet painting.
Yes.
What do they do?
Well,
They'll blame you if you don't tell them what to do.
Well, what I do is I always have a bucket of water, and into anything I want to save or get rid of, I just dump it into the bucket of water. That means that I can use measuring cups again, because they will rinse
Wash
out.
out, yes.
But the rest will end up in the trash. Please don't pour it down the drain. Be conscious of the environment. We don't want paint going down the drain. So if you just paint things out, or if you have paint left over and you're not going to do another pour and you can't save it, pour it on paper or something so that you can then roll it up,
Wrap it up,
put it in the rubbish
away,
bin.
yeah.
But so please don't put it down the drains.
Wouldn't be a terrible situation if you did that and you poured your paint onto a piece of newspaper and it became the most beautiful pouring you'd ever seen. What did you do?
Right. I mean that does happen.
It does.
It's a part of art.
It's accidental.
That's just full of surprises.
Yeah, it's
really
all accidental.
Yes, I could use this exactly the same colours in exactly the same proportions on exactly the same size of canvas, and you get a different result.
Well, that's why I think it's a good idea if a group of people come together and they all do their particular thing.
Absolutely.
Even if they're using the same colours, they'll get different effects.
Oh, they can bat ideas off each other.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Yeah.
You know, what colours did you
The
use?
answer is I don't really know.
No, so it is. It's a very interesting, and people are very keen on it. I run regular workshops, always full, and people just love it. They just go away so excited with their finished work.
Which reminds me, we must put in this digital part of the newsletter your email address and so forth, so that people can attack you for workshops. Especially if you live around the Brisbane area, which is where John lives. So he just offers himself up as a sacrifice.
Well, this is a bit of a worry, but we will talk about this, Jim, off air. All right, so what we're doing now is we just turn our painting around so it sits within our dish, or we could remove what we were using, use our
I'll
supports.
go and clean those out.
Yeah, they just need a quick
Quiet.
yes. Should be that's it. Oh, there's the other one.
No.
Basically to show you the difference. Now with a dirty pour, you add the paint to a single cup, any sort of quantity you like, and you can add the colours one on top of the other more than once if you like. I don't normally do that, but in this case we'll pour the white in. That's white. The white goes first because it's the most dense. The next densest colour is the quinacridone magenta. My favourite colour again. Beautiful colour this is. And finally, the lightest colour of the lot. This is the lightest in density, not the lightest in hue.
Is the yellow. Yeah.
Is the yellow. So we'll add the yellow. Might do a little more. I might just keep.
That's a strange looking fried egg. Actually.
It is. This is a infected egg. Well, we'll change the sequence a bit. Put a bit of that.
You're putting
going.
another layer.
Yes, you don't have to, but I'm just putting another layer. Now, what makes a big difference with the dirty pour, you won't believe this, is the number of times you stir it.
Yeah.
So if you want major areas of colour,
Of one colour, you mean?
no, major areas of colour. So you want these to stay in large patches.
Yes.
Then you don't stir it a lot.
Yes.
Just
The more you stir it, the littler the patches will be.
correct. That's right. All right. So we're going to give it. We'll just give it a couple of swirls. Right. You want to look in the cup? There we go. That's what we're starting at. Looking good already. Okay. And now with the dirty pour, we just pour it onto the surface. Look at that.
Oh, it's pretty, isn't it?
How beautiful is that? The black really makes it stand out. As I said to you before, the different heights that you pour at makes different colours as well. Don't ask me why, I don't know, but that's what it does. Okay. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. On the outside or the inside. I'll just stand that there. And now we resort to
Manipulate it.
to moving it from side to side.
You haven't got your gloves on, John.
No.
I'm not scared of paint myself.
Well, this is
It's
true.
messy, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, some people are a bit paranoid. But in this case... Oh, sorry. I mean, not used to being filmed on what I do, except by traffic cameras. I'll give the poor old cameraman a chance by actually showing him the target. And you can tell me when it's finished rolling. Is it finished in my bottom
No,
finger?
it hasn't got down into
Not
the bottom
quite
corner yet. Still coming.
Still coming?
That's nearly there. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's rather nice, isn't it?
It is beautiful. Beautiful colours. Now there's a magical effect, really, from just having two colours plus the white.
Well, that's a good point to mention to people coming to the workshop to write their name on the back of their work, because they might end up squabbling about who poured what.
Absolutely. What I do with the workshop, of course, is I don't let people take their work home because it's wet. So I handle it for them. I put it on a large drop sheet, and when it's dry, I ring them and they come and get their painting.
But of course, if they've got the baking tray and they're at the workshop, they could take the baking tray.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's
The only restriction with the baking tray is what size canvas you can use.
Yeah.
But I would suggest everybody starts off small.
Start small anyway.
Yes, start small, and as you get more enthused, as I'm sure you will, you can graduate to larger pieces, but you will have to put them on plastic sheet and put little feet on them. All right, now what I'm going to do is show you how to start from scratch with a thicker canvas. And what I use to support it is what's called Otto push pins, available from most newsagents and office works. They're about $4 a box, and you can use them multiple times. So you undo your canvas, put it face down, and put your pins in. I just push them in, not all the way. And why we're not pushing them in all the way is because we're trying to get the canvas reasonably level, and if it's actually out, we can get it more level by just pushing the pins in further. Now you can see what I've got. We've got a canvas and it's got little feet on it. We turn it over. This is where we start. Now you might notice I haven't gessoed this one. They come gessoed. I personally do like to give them a couple of coats of gesso, but other people don't, and therefore that's okay. So we'll just try it without gesso. Now I've already shown you a 2-colour and a 3-colour mix. This time we're just doing 2-colour. Black and white, one of my favourites actually. So we've now got it standing up. The purpose being you can get your hands underneath it and manoeuvre your colours. And when you're finished and you want to go home, or you can put it down somewhere and let it dry. So we've done the dirty pour, we've done the clean pour like an egg. Now what we'll do this time is we'll just splash it around a bit in some sort of a pattern. Up to you. There we go.
Then you could do the black and then come back with more white on top of it.
Absolutely.
Again, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
There's lots of tricks you can do, aren't there?
Yes, absolutely. Some people might have trouble with the blacks. There are a number of blacks. There's carbon black, which is the chroma colour. There's lamp black, ivory black, carbon black, whole host of them. I think this
carbon black's the strongest.
The carbon black is the best one.
Yeah,
It's the one I like the best.
It's poisonous in California.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
everywhere else it's okay, but in California you better worry about it. It's very worrying living in California, you know.
Unless you've got a gun.
So I see you going alongside of the lines you're filling some of them in, yes?
Filling some of them in.
You're using it as a little dam wall where the white is.
Yes, exactly.
That's a cunning idea.
Perhaps one of the things that I didn't show you, that I should have showed you, is consistency. This is probably one of the most difficult bits about acrylic pouring is getting the consistency right. Now, in this case, you can pick it up with your stirring stick like that and then tilt it on its edge. And if you get a continual run like this, then it's about right. That's about the consistency that will flow, but is not too thin. And you'll get absolutely good coverage on your canvas. You've just got to work on it, just got to experiment with the consistency. And each colour is different because they have different densities. So you might add a little bit more pouring medium to one than you've got with another. But as I said, all experimental and lots of fun just to do it. Same as the last pour. If this is insufficient quantity, we'll just add some more. It's quite simple. But I did do a large black and white, about 4 foot by 4 foot, and very popular. A lot of people really liked it, so worth a try. Okay, so we'll now manoeuvre the colours. It reminds me of those black and white cows. There's actually a town in New South Wales just over the border from Queensland called Moorball, and even their telegraph poles are painted black and white. Okay.
That is nice because it's simple, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful, Tom. It's beautiful. Put it down before it spoils itself.
No, we've got to get there. Got to get the coverage on the side.
It's not all mixed up like the other ones. It's because
No.
it's just 2 colours.
Yes. Well, it's not.
No.
It's not even really combining because otherwise you'd get the grey. So the grey I'm getting there now.
Because you built a little dam with the white and you put the black in between.
But see,
it's come out
look
beautiful,
at this.
isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's quite easily done. Just 2 colours, and it doesn't have to be black and white. It could be black and yellow. Or
Maybe when you're starting off, it might be better to only have 2 colours or 3 colours, and think about what the colours, how they're going to intermix with each other.
Yeah.
When they run together too is something to think about. Isn't it?
It is.
But it's nice the way this one has run over the edge.
Yes. Yeah,
That's a really nice one, John.
tried to run it over the edge.
Yes, well.
But like Jim was saying to me, I've got to be careful I don't pull the design off the canvas. And he liked it the way it was.
I'd leave it alone because it's very nice. You'll spoil it.
There we go.
There it is.
While seeing that Jim's the boss, I will stop now. And as before, don't forget, pick your painting up, look across the surface. If there are any bubbles, just pop them with a toothpick or something. Or if there are any lumps because you haven't mixed the paint properly, or you've missed something, just pull them out with a skewer or
usually
toothpick.
with free flow, because it's so fluid, you don't get that sort of problem very much.
No, that's true. So I'm just covering all there. There we go.
Okay, John, so I guess you can sign off here with this masterpiece you just created.
Well,
You're going to leave it behind, I hope.
You'll
have to leave it here to get dry.
Exactly.
You may not be able to find it when you come back.
That's fine. Well, thanks for the opportunity of presenting some of your fine products.
Thank you for coming.
And to the audience, you'll have so much fun. This is really an absorbing, addictive hobby.
Ooh,
So enjoy.
that sounds dangerous.
No, they will enjoy it. It's great.
Come back next month, see what we're doing. We're doing free flow next month.
Right, yes.
Yes,
Thanks
well,
very much.
Thank you everyone.